do you do, Mr. Meredith? Out here in isolation, and if you'll forgive me for saying so, obviously not of independent means, how do you survive?
I help out in the fruit and grape season. Do a little driving for a local farmer.
That's odd. I bumped into a peasant type on my way here, and he seemed to think that you were some kind of artist, painter.
Oh, I dabble. More of a Sunday painter for my own amusement.
Apart from that little hotel on the hill, there appears to be nothing and no one for miles. You must like your own company. Or do you have a companion?
There's a woman.
Yes, my peasant type told me that too. And conveniently, she appears to be out at the moment. Does she know that your name isn't really Meredith?
She knows nothing. Do you hear? She is not involved in any way.
Welcome to Movie Heaven, Movie Hell with me, Simon Aitken, and
I'm Keith Eyles, and we're both independent filmmakers who enjoy discussing movies and related topics. And for this bonus episode, we're recording this at the Gordon Craig Theatre in Stevenage, where we are with the cast and crew of Strictly Murder, a play directed by Samuel Clemens from a script by his father, Brian Clemens. So, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Let's just introduce who we've got here. I'll let you guys do that.
Hi, my name's Gary Turner, and I'm in the play, and I play the part of Peter.
I'm Lara Lemon and I play Susie.
Hello, I'm Andrew Fettis. I play Joseph.
I'm Samuel Clemens and I am the director.
I'm Corrinne Wicks and I play Miriam.
I'm Brian Capron and I play Ross.
There you go. And as you can tell already, we're taking this extremely seriously, as we like to do on these bonus episodes. So, just to kick things off a little bit, we'll start with Sam, because he did say biggest ego first. So, Sam, if you could just tell us a little bit about what the play's about and how it came to be, that would be great.
Well, It's difficult to tell you much about it without giving it away, but it's
no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. It's set in 1939 in Provence, and an English couple, Peter and Susie, are enjoying their idyllic life, and then it's massively disturbed by the introduction of a character called Ross, who throws their lives into sort of turmoil. But it's set in April 1939, and it's all that beautiful build-up before the onset of war, and there's a lot of kind of references to Nazism, but war is on the route. There's sort of a lot of, no one really, everyone has a secret. Okay. And it always every scene ends with some form of twist or change, which keeps the audience guessing the whole time. And the way it came about was in about 2004, I think, because this was published in 2006. Mm-hmm. And Dad was always struggling with trying to write a whodunit or a thriller on stage, but technology has destroyed the thriller on stage, because you can just go, well, I'm here, we'll just pin drop me, or just find me on Google, or here's the internet. It just ruins everything. So he thought it'd be nice to set something back in the past where we don't have technology to aid us, and it makes it a bit more interesting. It's a good period. He was a child of the war. He was born in 1931, so he was a young boy growing up during that period. So he knew a lot about it and was fascinated by that period. And what was interesting, actually, is when we researched the period, we discovered that actually everything comes from some form of reality. Every character sort of has someone to reference who existed, and Dad sort of took those ideas and, ran with them and turned them into what he wanted to make it a bit more dramatic from his perspective. I can't reveal those because they tell you everything about the play.
Right, yeah.
But it was really his answer to the problem of the thriller. And he thought it would be interesting to do a whodunit, because he'd never used to sort of write those. Everyone thought he used to sort of do whodunits, but he was more of a kind of plot theatre thriller writer. Mm-hmm. And then he was asked to do Perry Mason in the States. and Perry Mason, sort of the producer Dean Hargrove, thought he'd be great at doing that kind of thing. He said, well, I'm not really sure, I don't really do that Agatha Christie kind of thing. And he said, well, I think you'd be really good at it. And so he gave him a shot at it. He went out there, watched a few episodes, met a few of the writers and all that, Raymond Burr, and felt that he could do it, and did it, and they turned out very well and successful. And I think that was another string to his bow. So this more than I think any of the others of his are more a whodunit than any of his other plays. His other plays are sort of far more down the road sort of thrillers than this.
Okay. And is this the first adaptation of this play?
No, this has been done quite a few times. I've been in it. I played Gary's role once in Weekly Rep, badly, and poorly miscast.
Not as well as Gary.
It's much better. Much better than Gary.
Better. Yeah. Keeps telling me that. He sends me text every day. Not as good as Nottingham, Gary. Not as good as Nottingham.
But yeah, it's been done quite a few times, probably about 8 times or something like that. And I've seen most of them, and I've never thought it's been done with the level of care and attention. And it's difficult because when you read it, there is a tendency to go towards the melodrama and to go towards the comedy of it. And so some characters, particularly Drew's character, Joseph, has been played a lot as a kind of clowning buffoon, which is completely the wrong way to go about it. So I thought I could do something interesting with it if I was given the chance. And then this is my debut as a theatre director, so I brought some of my film kind of people in. So I brought our composer, Edward White, in to score it. And so he scored it on the rehearsals. I'd send him videos of the rehearsals because we only had a couple of weeks, and then he'd sort of score the footage, and then we'd tweak it based on what was happening, and we came up with a way of it's an interesting way of working where it sounds like one track, but it's about 6 that all fit together perfectly. So every time someone does something or picks something up, puts it down, it's cued that way, so it feels like it's very organic. So the actors can change the timing of it every night, and it still feel, on point. So yeah, so that's sort of what I thought I could bring to it. Was just maybe a bit of the film way of looking at it, because it is quite filmic. There are huge sequences in it that have no dialogue whatsoever. There's like a good 5-minute scene almost with nothing apart from just action. So it lends itself to it already.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's open this up to our cast. Feel free to jump in.
I just a question about. With theatre, it's very talky usually, isn't it? So what is it like performing a 5-minute scene where there's no dialogue on stage?
The scene that it's the one where I'm sort of getting ready and it's that.
There's two. There's also when you come back, it's quite long as well. There's quite a few moments.
Yeah, it's a relief. You don't have to say anything. And I mean, the one that I do is pretty tense. I'm in a hurry, and I don't want to give anything away, but I'm rushing around like a madman trying to cover my tracks and preparing for the arrival of another character, possibly preparing to kill them. You're not quite sure. So from an acting point of view, it's easier to just get on with it, because there's no other people that you're acting with, I suppose.
Actually, you have quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in how the audience actually at moments, at times you can hear a pin drop because they've got to watch the character and you've got nothing else apart from we set up quite a few red herrings with what we're doing, but also sometimes it explains the characters. So particularly with Joseph, you really don't know his story at all, and his story is only told through other characters. His backstory, if you like, is revealed through other characters. So it's quite liberating. As Gary said, you don't have any lines, but the action has to be very pertinent. You have to justify everything you do, and if you want to tell the audience or signal something to the audience, it's got to be clear. And we did rehearse those sequences with Sam long and hard and make sure that we knew exactly why we're doing them. But I find it fascinating because sometimes the audience get a little restless because they're waiting for someone to say something. But we hang it out a little bit longer and go, no, you're not going to have any lines yet. You've got to watch. You've got to get interested. And they do get interested, and we win them over for that. And it's very atmospheric, so it really does set the atmosphere before certain scenes.
And you're allowed to change it a little bit as well. You found and when I've come back and seen it, they found other moments or sped things up, and it's
also there's a good soundscape as well, and we have the music, which is so. I mean, the music makes a hell of a deal. I mean, I think the music adds about 20% to this play, to the atmosphere. It's terrific music, and it's inspired us, and it kind of, as soon as we hear it come in, woof, it lifts us as well.
Music takes over the dialogue in places because we work with the music and the music with us, because as Sam said, it was scored very much on what we were doing.
It feels like you're in a movie at certain points.
Okay. Well, that was a question I was going to ask. Sort of coming on from that is, I take it all of you done both film and theatre, both stage and screen. I was going to ask you sort of each sort of which I know they're very different things and they require a different skill set, but as actors, which do you prefer? Yeah.
I've said it before, I think I prefer doing screen work, purely, I think, because I've done more of it. I suffer a lot with nerves, stage fright and things, so don't tend to get quite so much of that when you're doing filming, partly because you can go again. But the more I do of theatre, I'm growing to love it.
Right. You get the instant buzz.
You get the instant buzz. You get the not that the part I'm playing in this doesn't get much of an instant buzz. It's not particularly a funny character, but
you're talking about she's hilarious.
The way I play it is hilarious.
With the way you play.
Yes, you can feel the audience. But I think on balance, yes, I'd still say screen is my favourite. I think.
Okay.
So far.
I think because I've done more I'm the opposite of Corrinne, really. I've done a lot more stage work than screen. I love screen because for me it's a little bit new, and I'm still learning. So I enjoy that. I enjoy learning the process of screen work and TV stuff. But
we did a 48-hour sci-fi film chat.
Yes, we did. Yeah. That was great. That was good fun.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I suppose I'm very at home on stage, and I do love listening to the audience, and particularly I've done a lot of comedy before, doing something serious like this. So that's you're almost working with a partner in the auditorium, if you like. So I get a big buzz off working on stage.
Cool. What about you?
I think I prefer. It's really hard to say prefer or not. I think I find theatre slightly easier because of the amount of rehearsals you get, and that you get to run. You just get to run it for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Or I find film a little bit more difficult because you are filming out of sequence. You're filming. You're sort of stop starting, and I find it harder to work that way, I suppose. I prefer to just be like sort of absorbed in it. Yeah, I think that's probably
Yeah. Gary?
I always say when I'm doing telly or film that I prefer to do theatre, and when I'm doing theatre I prefer to do telly or film. I like them both. They both present quite different challenges. What I love about the theatre is that the bloodline goes right back through the history of what it's all about. You're telling a story in front of an audience, and I find that incredibly exciting. And there's no escape. You're there, and it's a three-way thing between you, the other actors, and the audience. And every show is different, and every show, is kind of original in its own way, and that is really exciting. That's you can never get bored with that. But at the same time, like for instance, the luxury you get with TV and especially film is that you can work up to a point in a particular scene. You can be spending, we've got a day to get these 3 pages down or whatever. So as an actor, you can change it, and then you can stop, and the director will go, no, try it this way, and you can kind of really create something specific and maybe go places that you wouldn't go in front of an audience because you're in the middle of a slightly different process. I don't know if I'm sort of talking myself into a corner.
No, at all.
Corner really. So I suppose, yeah, and usually the money's better in TV.
That helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I also
Brian?
miss.
I agree a lot with what Gary says. They've each got their own challenges, obviously. And also within the terms of film or television, multi-camera is completely different to single camera. Because multi-camera on sitcoms and soaps, everything's shot very, very quickly. So you're doing, in the case of something like Coronation Street, you're doing a whole episode in a day. And because it's multi-camera, all the shots are written down first. The director has to give the cameraman all the shots. So you're playing it to the director. So there's no room for change, really, at all. You just have to fit in and do your best with what you've got. So that's a certain kind of pressure, which is does give you a buzz. And as soon as you've done a scene and you go to the next one, as soon as you hear clear, which is what you're praying for, that you just eject that scene from your head. And if they ask you to go back, it's very difficult to get it back again because you're going on to the next one.
Yeah.
In film, that's a completely different thing, or any single camera situation, where you have to learn a certain stillness and you use your face and your eyes in a kind of different way. And you still have to be very natural and real and find your way with that camera. And I always say, make that camera your friend. And I love cameras, and I feel very at home with them. And I walk into a studio because I've been doing it since 1973. So, and then with theatre, there are lots of different things there. Again, the biggest challenge with theatre is to try and keep it natural, and yet you have to project this character to hundreds of people. And I think that's the biggest problem for us, really, is to not act, and try and make the character truthful and believable at the same time, and in the way you relate to other characters. And the best chance you've got of doing that is by having a very good detailed rehearsal period, which, not that we had a great long time with this, but we had quite a detailed time where we could learn an awful lot and bring a lot of detail and historical content onto the stage that we wouldn't have been able to do. And the best thing about theatre, as Lara mentioned, is that you actually have a proper rehearsal time, whereas mostly on television and film, you just turn up and do it.
Right.
On a soap, you'll have, or most things, you'll just have one camera rehearsal. If you're doing film and you have the luxury, most film is done about just 2 or 3 minutes edited a day, so you have all day to do a scene. And you earn your money when that camera comes round to you. So it's done, it's done its 3 shot, it's done its 2 shot or whatever, and then it's coming round to singles. Bang, bang, bang. And as it comes to you, everyone else has done brilliant. And if you're last, that's the money shot. You've got to keep it really good there and keep your nerve.
Yeah.
And then you see someone do something really good and naturally, oh my God, I've got to be as good as that. So they all have their challenges, but I love it all. And it's an absolute privilege to do any of it.
Yeah. Sorry, Lara, you're going to add something, weren't you? Just then.
I can't remember what I was going to say now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was gone.
I didn't want to leave you out, sorry. Oh, that's cool. And then Sam, I've got to ask you then. You've acted, you've directed, and now you've not only directed film but theatre.
Yeah.
So for you, again, have you got a greater love, or are you split?
It's hard. I feel less pressure being a director than I do being an actor.
Right.
Certainly, because I know what has gone into making it. I know the problems, I know the budget, I know the constraints, I know all the issues, and I would defy most other people to do a better job than what I've done within the time constraints. This is how I feel when I'm making something film-wise, or even in this show. So I don't feel that same worry that I do as an actor. Like Brian said, when the camera comes around, you're like, shit. Oh God. And you just feel like, God, am I going to be really bad? Like there is a pressure. Like I know actually, Corrinne, you said you kind of relax. I kind of do the opposite on camera. I just freak out because I know that it just captures thought. And if I'm not thinking anything, or it's vacuous, it's just going to go, well, you're rubbish. So,
Mind you, it's like what Bob Hoskins said, didn't he, about that last shot in, not the last shot, the Long Good Friday, when he's in the back of the cab.
Yeah,
and, our hearts...
in his head.
Yeah, he reckons he was thinking about what he was having for dinner. I don't know whether that's true. I mean, he said that, but I don't know whether that's true or not.
No way.
Yeah.
I did a when I was studying film. We did a class on that scene.
Ah, right.
Because he tells you every thought that's going through his mind, just through his expressions, his movements in the back of that cab. You know. And at the end, you know, he's accepted it. There's nothing he can do. You know,
very good director on that film.
Yeah.
I worked with that director. I did a play for the day years ago.
But in answer to it, though, I like both, and I think they both feed each other. Like, because I teach acting as well, and that's the only difference that I found between teaching acting and directing is that when you're directing, you're not having to teach anything. The actors just turn up and bring stuff. You're like, brilliant! Now we can just work because you're professional, know what you're doing. But I think they feed each other. I honestly, by teaching acting, I feel like I've got better as an actor and as a director by watching mistakes and watching what doesn't work and what does work and continually being inspired by new young people doing stuff that's amazing, and you're like, God, I wish I was like that. There is that thing, but I think having youth around you is important for it to keep that excitement going. But I like both, and people have tried to pigeonhole me into one for a long time. Like, why don't you just stop acting and be a director, or why don't you just stop directing and just be an actor? And I feel like,
the same. It's horrible, isn't it?
I'm just like, no. I'm like, and I really have had to battle people saying that, and I just go, no, I want to do both, and I think I can do both, so why not? I mean, I do more. I mean, I have to write and produce. Do everything. That's the problem now, is that you have to do everything. You have to know how to do everything to be given the opportunity to do something. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
One of the things I would say about the difference between this is a touring production, and very often a touring production, you get the phone call, do you want to do the part, you turn up. There's not very often there's not a lot of direction, so it's left up to the actors, and you kind of basically learn the lines, learn the moves, and get on with it and make the best of it you can. It was a completely different process with this, because Sam has worked in that touring environment. He brought his drama centre experience, which is a very detailed way of working. So by the time we turned up, he'd asked us to be off book. He'd given us projects to do about the world that we were in, and we started off with Meisner exercises. In commercial theatre world, that's unheard of. It's completely unheard of. It's up to us. And that was kind of, for me, and I think for most of us as well, that was really liberating, because all of a sudden we're like, oh, and it was like all of a sudden the elves could come out of the box to play, because you fall into the trap of repeating your bad habits, because you think, well, I've only got 2 days and then we're on, and I've got to learn that speech and I'll just do what I normally do. But with this, we were kind of at liberty, and it was kind of all credit to the way it was.
It meant we bonded very
directed.
quickly too, I think, and we all came together as a team, and I think it's a very team performance, and we all, I think, enjoy. I think this could have been a tricky tour. It's a very long tour. If we didn't get on and support each other every night.
Well, that was important to me, is try and create that early, because I knew, I was like, God, they're going to be together from March till October, and maybe even longer. I don't know, but at the moment that's what it is. So I was like, well, we've got to have people that are going to be able to work well with each other, because if you hate each other, I mean, they might hate each other, I have no idea. But, certainly not in this film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, my stab wounds and bite marks are fading now.
Apart from Drew, it's quite a nice company, I suppose, isn't it?
Oh, Drew.
Drew.
I think it matters a lot. And
Sorry,
it comes across. I think it comes across, and we've had some lovely reviews, which is it's and they're well deserved. And going back to because of Sam's direction, he's pulled it all together, and he's put so much detail and so much care in this production. There's so much going on. And I think we've all appreciated that, and we feel we're a reasonably classy product.
It's just a shame he's not a very nice person, really.
I know.
You can't have it always.
No, you
You
can't.
can't, no.
Yeah.
Don't say it to his face.
No.
That's kind of interesting, though. I mean, they always sort of say that the stage is the actor's medium, and it's interesting, like Corrinne, what you were saying about the fact that you actually feel more comfortable in the film world and stuff. The improvisation and the exercises and all that sort of thing. I mean, Gary, you've already said that you found it helpful. Was that across the board? Did you guys all find that sort of thing helpful?
Yeah, I think it gave us a certain amount of freedom to then sort of play with the script, and also the trust thing. Like Brian was saying, it means that Sam created this environment of trust. So you just try whatever you want, you can play whatever, and there was no wrong answer.
If you trust the other actor, then you make yourself, you don't mind making yourself vulnerable to that, because you know that they're there for you and they're trying to do their best to move the scene and find new things in the scene, develop the scene, and that's what that does.
Fair enough. I've got a really horrible question for everyone now. It's Sam's fault. Okay, I just blame him. We obviously do and I hate this question, so that's why I'm saying it. We do a podcast called Movie Heaven, Movie Hell. So real quick, without thinking about it, I was going to ask each of you what your favourite and what your least favourite films were. See, I can tell already you're mortified.
Well, I can. My least favourite. How can I possibly? My favourite film. I'm not going to get into any arguments of whether it's the best film of all time, but because I think it's like Kingsley Amis says, your friends aren't necessarily the people you love the most. They just got there first. And with me, Blade Runner got there first. So that would be my least favourite film. Holy.
It's a horrible bloody.
Great.
Well, do you know what? I'm gonna do what you do and stick with the director. I'm going to go Robin Hood.
Oh, there you go. There you have it.
That was just awful. Oh, yeah.
What, Prince of Thieves?
No, the Ridley Scott.
Oh, Ridley Scott.
Russell
Oh,
Crowe. He went from Welsh to Scouse to Northern in one sentence.
But the poor bastard was surrounded by someone from Ireland, from Newcastle and Yorkshire, and he's trying to do something in the middle. It's so funny.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Well, everybody else, I'm gonna think about my least favourite film of all time.
Okay. So my favourite film of the last couple of years would be Wild Tales.
Oh, that was great.
Oh yeah. I would recommend it to anyone. It's such a fun film.
It's one of those films. If you don't love the first segment, you're not gonna love.
You'll hate the rest of it. Yeah.
I remember watching that
Just
film
fun.
and thinking, oh, this director has made 5 of the best short films ever made in one movie. It's like, well, we might as well just give up now.
And then my least favourite is probably something like Dirty Dancing.
Fair enough.
I want to sing this song.
No,
favourite.
No, I wasn't going
favourite film.
Certainly is not Dirty Dancing. I'm Gary. I'm struggling to think of my least favourite. My favourite film would be City Lights. Chaplin. City Lights, definitely. Least favourite is. I mean, there's a few Jim Carrey films that are floating around there for me. Not the Truman Show. Truman Show I adore, but yeah, there's a couple of Jim Carrey. Liar probably is the one that I would shoot myself in the face before seeing.
I love Jim Carrey.
I told you it's a bit of a crap question. Corrinne?
Oh golly. Favourite, there's so many, but I'm gonna go with I don't know, probably just for sheer silliness, it would be a Steve Martin. So The Jerk or Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Nice, good choice.
Least favourite,
just
because I saw it the other day and I was so disappointed with it. Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Don't get me on
Yeah, that is up there.
Such a
That is up there.
It's a man's film and it should be a woman's film.
Yeah.
Brian?
Well, I'm struggling with the worst one. I'm both of them really, but what comes to mind is.
Were you in your favourite one?
Well, I worked with Gwyneth Paltrow in Emma. One of my favourite. I mean, I can't think of any, but one of my favourites that comes to mind is Fetts and Samuel, which I absolutely adore that film because it's like a little bomb that's been rolled down a hill. in the middle. I just adore that film. One of my favourite Western films, if we talk about Western films, is Once Upon a Time in the West. And I can watch it over and over again. And my son and I I just love that film. The opening part.
It's got one of the best shots in cinema history. The one where she enters the town.
Oh yes,
train.
yeah.
And just about you guys talking about music, Ennio Morricone actually had written and scored that piece. So when she was walking through and they did the crane shot, the music was playing on set.
Really?
Wow.
Oh,
He'd written all the characters' themes beforehand, so every character had their theme.
But he post-syncs all the dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes. But it still kind of works as those
Amazing,
shots when they're waiting for the train to come in,
Yeah.
and all the faces and the flies and the this and that. It's just I just absolutely adore that film. Bad films, I'm sure.
There's so many, right?
Yeah. But
It's a hard question.
yeah, none come to mind.
Film I hate the most, Pretty Woman.
Oh yeah.
That's Sam's favourite.
Is it? that film alone. I think apparently the numbers of prostitutes in Hollywood doubled after
Really?
that film came out because they all thought they were going to find a millionaire.
I'm no Richard Gere.
Mm.
Okay.
One of the most disappointing films, actually, I don't know why I come to it, is a film that Tony Hancock made. He made one film.
Oh, I like that. The sculpture one.
No, I don't know. What was
Yeah,
it called?
that was
The Rebel.
Something.
The Rebel.
The Rebel.
The Rebel.
Yeah.
Wasn't that when he made the sculpture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
I like
Yeah.
that film.
I don't know. I expected so much from it. I mean,
That's
it's
what we
going
like,
back a
different
long
opinion.
way now, but
He made another one, The Punch and Judy Man, which was beautiful.
Yes,
that was a lovely film.
That was better because
That was better.
That was
Yeah.
better. Yes.
But that was when he was feeling a little bit
I
sorry
think
for
the-
himself, and the
yeah.
melancholy in that film was gorgeous.
Right, yeah. I do remember one quite. The only funny sequence in Rebel just can't mind is, which is so stupid. But you see him set up as a city man going to the city as a commuter, and everyone's standing on the other side of the station except for him. Why is he standing there? And as the trains come in, the one going the other way comes in first, then the one comes in going to London, then he just walks in through one into
Through
the
it.
other.
Oh,
It's
the days where you could do that.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry, just chuck that 2 pennies in.
Any other questions for Simon?
Well, I have one for you, Sam. So, being the film director, you're total control over the performances and stuff. So when the play is going on, what do you do as a director?
Sweat. No. I think, well, I tried to, because what I tried to do is, having done a lot of this type of touring work before as an actor, I got so frustrated with not being able to approach it the way I wanted to for years. So I wanted to try and do it this way, and I think the way of doing that is by making the space safe so the actors feel comfortable to try things. And also, what most directors who don't act don't really understand really until you're doing it, is that the play that you start with is not the same play later on. Mm-hmm. It's completely different. It builds and gathers more detail, more momentum, and you understand every thought process, and you discover new thought process and new reasons. So I kind of wanted to allow them the freedom to feel that they could change it. They could, if there was a bit of blocking that they didn't like, that didn't work, nothing is sort of sacred, that they should be able to move and change. Mm-hmm. So when I watch it, I'm quite excited to see the tiny nuances of changes that happen. So it doesn't worry me so much, but because I know that I was doing that as an actor. I mean, I've worked with so many actors that you start and they are exactly the same on the first day of rehearsal as they are 9 months later. The same delivery. It doesn't matter how you do it to them, they don't do anything different. And there's nothing more boring in the world than, because they're not listening. Mm-hmm. And it's trying to create a space to listen to each other and then just react. And when you do that, it becomes quite easy. Acting is quite easy when you are you've done the work, you throw it away and you work with the person in front of you.
I think also, when because there is trust, and because of the way the rehearsals were set up, you'll watch a show, and then you'll come to the dressing room afterwards and you'll go, oh, this was good, not so sure about that. Why did you do that? And and because we're all kind of open to that, that's kind of really helpful from an actor's point of view. And that's something.
Yeah,
Maybe don't stand on your head during the love speech.
But I think that's the nice thing about theatre and about the live environment is in film, as an actor, you put all your trust in the filmmaker, basically, because, it's he or she that's in control of what the overall thing's going to be. But obviously, when you're doing something like a play like this, not only are you working with the director, but you absolutely have to have that trust in each other as well, don't you? And I think that's why when theatre's good, when it really works, it's because of that camaraderie and that teamwork.
Collaboration.
Definitely.
Well, they control it now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
You can sit back now. It's theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be a bit of a naive question, but do you find with most theatre shows that the director is actually there for every performance, or is it a case of we've done rehearsal, off you go?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're only contracted up till the opening night, and then that's it.
Really?
So,
It goes to a few
So it's
shows.
entirely up to them if
Yeah.
they want to come and see the
So
show.
I'm off. Yeah.
Some directors never let a show go, which is
Yeah.
they're obsessed, and they come every night and they keep changing it. And you need to let a show go. It's like a baby, you have to let a child you have to let go of, and then you can come back to it. But most people in touring theatre don't give a toss and just after the direction they've disappeared, and that's it. Just like Sam.
Somehow.
So for our listeners then, if you could just let us know what are the tour dates and venues, and where, and more importantly, where can they purchase tickets for this wonderful?
Where indeed? Where indeed can they
Well,
purchase
there's this
tickets?
At the
contraption
venues.
called the internet.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the website, the company's called Talking Scarlet, and the website's talking-scarlet.co.uk, and that has all the tour lists there. But I'll give you a few of them here.
It's best just to go online for the individual theatres, because then you can see the seats, and you can then you can book that direct online.
Yeah.
I mean, the next, obviously, we're here at the Gordon Craig till Wednesday. They're in Colchester at the end of the week, Thursday to Saturday. Harrogate.
You want to give dates
Yeah.
because this will probably go out next week.
Oh, next week. Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, it goes on till October, so it's really hard.
Okay.
There's literally, I mean,
There's
I can
lots
give
of
you
opportunities.
I think there's loads. I mean, I can give you all the venues, and they're all at least a week beyond this. So you've got Colchester, Harrogate, Lowestoft, Malvern, Weston-super-Mare, Crewe, Dunstable, Stafford, Westcliff, Buxton, Swansea, Barnstable, Peterborough, Kingston, and Corby.
And Guildford now.
And Guildford.
And I'll tell you what, unfortunately, this is obviously audio. If only you could see how tired all the actors are since you read down
Just
that
listening
list.
to that.
They're all sinking in their chairs.
What's the
starting to
Crewe?
weep.
It's that back-to-back week, isn't it? What is it? Crewe,
No, we've got
Dunstable, Stafford.
It's a massive.
no,
Yeah,
in
it's
one
the one
week.
in September.
And
It's
there's Peterborough.
Oh,
Barnstable.
Peter
It would be much
Barnstable.
more boring being in one place all the time, though. I mean, we do like the kind of buzz of the change of the atmosphere, and the different theatres, and just gets us. We're always a little bit nervous on the first night in a new place because our voices suddenly sound completely different. Might have been in a great big theatre, then we've come to a studio theatre, and so it's funny because you hear yourself completely differently on there, and then after one night, bang, you're completely used to it again.
Right.
But it's good because it just changes things around a bit.
Keeps it exciting. Yeah.
Look how excited they are.
exciting.
Riveted. Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant.
So at least people can find out more about that on
Talking-scarlet.co.uk, and that has all the tour lists for everything of where it's going to be. But you can purchase tickets from the website of each theatre that they're going to. They'll be up online, hopefully with a little video trailer as well, which we shot fairly recently. Give us a little flavour.
Actually, that was really that was quite interesting to do that because we've been rehearsing it for theatre and big, and then all of a sudden we came in and we had to do scenes for the camera,
Oh, right.
and that was kind of bring it down. Yeah.
Is that another thing that's coming more into theatre, that they'll do like a trailer?
Much more.
Yeah.
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 Got to have it. Yeah.
Got to.
and have everything. You got all the media.
Well, I was
platforms.
going to ask about social media. Is it on Facebook, Twitter?
Facebook, yeah. I mean, Twitter. It's just at Talking Scarlet, isn't it? It's
Talking Scarlet.
At Talking Scarlet. They've got quite a few shows going on, but a lot of it is promoting this at the moment because this is, I think, the longest tour they've got of the show they're producing at the moment. So.
And is there a fan page on Facebook?
There is /Talking Scarlet.
Oh, there is, yeah.
And there's an Instagram page, Talking Scarlet. Or just one word.
Yeah, we haven't done one for Strictly Murder. It's just been timing. It's just the sheer.
Yes.
The energy of having to update. Yeah.
All right. Well, that just leaves us to thank you all
Thank you.
and break a leg.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.